the year?
Yes.
Yes! Let's go, Thomas. Guys, check it out. I got my Bridgerton haircut.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick, right? Okay, go look on my Instagram story right now. You guys will have a blast. Should I fucking wear it with the tailcoat? I did. It's fun, right? I can actually pull it off.
Yeah.
I could actually pull it off. The best part was going out last night and talking like this. It was actually really fun. Like, is that your real accent? I was like, no, I just could say the word cunt and now it sounds sexy.
Yes. Exactly.
It was great, man. I had a really fun time. So we have some Shane boys in town, right? 3 Shane boys. 3 Shane boys.
A lot of shame.
3 Shane
A lot
boys.
of shame, a lot of guilt.
Yeah, guilt. Guilt for being a bad person, Thomas?
Yeah, for having sex.
Terrible person.
Bad.
Fucking terrible. So it's actually really funny. The other day, I went on a walk and I saw this one girl there and she was like eating lunch. She was like a spiritual girl. I already knew she was going to give me a hand job in the park. Right after my call with Olo, I'm fuming with shame. So I need to find someone that's crazy enough to confirm my feelings with. Nah, I'm teasing. But there's some truth in being able to recognize your own relationship with this part of you. I think we want to be something we're not, and we ultimately want to make this something it's not. That's the shame. So I was talking about it with my brother just right after, and he's like, oh, that's fun. That was his response. He's married and has 2 kids. And then I said, yeah, I'm like, there's no problem. He's like, no, that's just how you play. I know who you are. Something very interesting. We often don't like to see who we are. What happens when we start developing a conscious relationship with anything? If you just met it, guys, it's going to be shameful. Because anything that you do not know, you fear. Anything that you do not feel adequate or enough for, or ultimately you feel that you need to hide, or even, by the way, I've noticed shame being the first relationship that we have to a part of ourselves. You know the guys that say this, they're like, and this is how you know they're going to marry down. Unfortunately, it's what they end up doing. They go, it's my single phase, I'm going to be the biggest man-ho I could ever be, right? You've heard this come out of guys' mouth. Have you noticed that they do all the things that they like doing, just without judging it, because they're disassociating from it, right? Now, what happens when they meet a girl? They go, that's not me. That's just me when I'm single. Oh. Where does that go? Because you know you got to bring that into the marriage unless you want it to be an absolutely boring one. But have you ever in your whole life thought to consider that this idea of you being single changes your behavior when you're in a relationship? What I mean by that, of course, there are changes. There's going to be the natural changes that happens when you're committed to somebody. Simple. When you're committed to anything, actually. Yet you will begin to realize that developing a conscious relationship with your sexual expression is one of the hardest things to do. Because I swear to God, the second you meet a girl that you like, you start bending the reality of your life. You might even see that that's the hiding too, right? You start hiding these expressions. Now, Thomas, there's a particular relationship that you have with yourself and your sexuality. I don't know if you know this, but what you're doing right now is you're hurting yourself in your ability to be with somebody that can meet your needs. You have a hard time accepting how deeply sexual you are and how much play you experience through it. And you would like to be something you're not. Why am I like this? Okay? This isn't the first time I've heard a story of you hooking up with a girl and having this response. I know what you'd like me to tell you. Thomas, why the fuck are you doing this? Why can't you keep your dick in your pants? What's the narrative? What's wrong with you? You shouldn't be doing this. You should be having sex with your wife. Is it that?
There's there's a disconnect because I like subtly, I know I enjoy it. I know that it's even kind of hard to say, but yeah, I do know that I'm like a deeply sexual person.
Do you think you're a sex addict?
A pervert, maybe more of a.
Okay, I like pervert. Let's use that word because it's going to trigger you a lot. Are you, you are a pervert.
Yeah.
You drink that fucking 17 shots of espresso so you could feel something. Look.
It's only the second one today.
Yeah. It's only the second one today? How have you not had heart disease yet?
I don't know, man. I'm trying.
Do you want to get closer to your sexuality? Because I feel like you have a very interesting relationship with your emotions. Your emotions and your sexuality are the same conversation, guys. The idea that compartmentalizing them to begin with just shows you that they have existed as one. You compartmentalize them to protect yourself.
I also put creativity in there too.
What, dude, amazing work. Yes, absolutely. You are correct. Yes, you are correct. Now you start thinking, you work as a mortgage salesperson. Name the one place this guy could experience himself. Sex. It's the only place you could experience yourself. I think that's the problem. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Not the way you have sex. That's everything right about you. Isn't that so funny? How you have a twisted narrative like, I did something wrong. I'm a bad person. She knew who my ex was and knew that I'm still not over her, and she had sex with me. You see, it's victimized, which means it's protecting you. You're protecting yourself. But yeah, man, I think there's something very interesting about your creativity, your sensitivity, your sexuality. When somebody is a very sexual person, why the first thing we think is pervert? Now, I want you guys to think about this too. This is a friend I've been hanging out with recently. He was Heathcliff number 2. I was Heathcliff number 1 because it was my idea. And he's never had sex before. He's done other stuff, but he's never had sex before. And his rationale is everything to do with women, which I notice that his own behaviors are externalized onto women. Like, why don't you have sex? You're 29 years old. There's plenty of girls who want to. And his narrative is like, girls these days don't want an STD. And I'm like, very convenient narrative. This is a protective behavior. This is an affectation. Now, I also found something to be very interesting. The friends that he hangs out with always confirm that he shouldn't. And growing up with him, I always recognized that he's also as afraid of his creative capacity. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't know anybody who's more creative than that person. No one. It's who he is. He is of the ocean of madness and has surrenders to each and every single wave, no matter how tall. That's the person he is. There's a lot to admire there. There's a lot to admire there. I would say his downfall is that he becomes childish, neglectful. Creative? Oh. How do I know that he's afraid of his creative capacity? Because I remember we were friends when we were 22 years old. And I looked at him and I said, are you fucking kidding me? You could be selling out theaters and you don't have a driver's license? I wanted to kill him. You know that. Because for me, I saw when we were hanging out together, we tapped in on greatness. Greatness is only discovered, everybody has genius. And the only way you could discover your genius is by playing the fool. I'm not joking, guys. If I'm doing Bridgerton right now, I was doing Robert Downey back then. And if it was Robert Downey, I was doing Jack Sparrow. I was doing Will Turner, he was Jack Sparrow. There wasn't a character we didn't play. Lucifer was my favorite character because, he could be the ultimate piece of shit. Yeah. That really helped me. We played Halo till 3 a.m. in the morning. I know I've told the story before. But he was the friend that allowed me to embrace life and in that, find my greatness. I remember there's a point in our relationship about 6 months into our bender, is what we called it, a 6 month bender. Because there wasn't a night where we went to bed on time. I made more money than I ever had then. I made more friends than I ever had then. I fell in love then. And it's become, for me, I believe, a standard of play. Because I didn't even know any of these things. I just surrendered. Surrender is very difficult, guys. Very, very difficult. I mean, because, think about trusting people. Who has trust issues? Really? Yeah, you too, motherfucker. Yeah. And then you start thinking about, well, okay, how does that manifest on a behavioral aspect? How does it change your relationship with the universe or with life? Absolutely does. Life is composed of people. So what I found to be very interesting is that at the time, I was like, first off, he does one acting role and becomes famous for it. He did a kids' TV show. He played a pharaoh for this like Moses Jewish thing. And it's like exclusively on this one like streaming app for like religious kids. And if he goes anywhere in, what's it called? Crown Heights is the Jewish area, everyone will recognize him. So he's like superstar famous there. And this was the only time he did that is when we weren't friends. When we were friends, all I saw is this guy turning away from himself every damn day. He eventually goes through 2 relationships, started making these choices for himself, and now we're friends again. But now I could see him a lot more clearly. First off, anytime I see him hang out with his friends, I'm like, those are not your friends. They don't give a shit about you. You just like the attention they give you. You like what they validate in you. I think he's as afraid of his creative capacity as he is of his sexuality. And they're connected to each other, aren't they? But I'll tell you, why do you think he hangs out with people that clearly aren't his friends, that he has to beg to come over to his birthday party? That he has to convince to say, invite me to your wedding, we've been friends for 20 years. Do you understand? What would make somebody do that? It's a great question to ask. What would make somebody do that? Well, they're too busy preserving an identity, and they would do everything in their power to make sure that that stays up. You know why? They are absolutely terrified of their potential. It was something I was thinking about on the way to coffee this morning. I believe one of the greatest hunches to get over, humps in your life, is, and I think the greatest tragedy, is the death of somebody's potential, wasted potential. And I know somehow we're talking about feeling guilt for hooking up with a girl on the weekend, but have you guys ever considered that, wasted potential? Right? You know there's something very beautiful about the path that I've taken. I do not feel that I'm wasting my potential. I feel that I'm aspiring towards it every day. You cannot aspire towards your potential in areas you cannot experience yourself. You can't. Your potential doesn't exist when you're too busy playing a character. Why does it make us feel this deep sunken feeling, right? And I think it creates a lot of our affectations, these adopted behavior mechanisms, like, oh, I gotta take action. No, you need to walk the path of your life. You understand? Who you are born to be, manifest there. And I think for a lot of you guys, you might go like, well, what's the purpose? What's the path of my life? And eventually it starts to become a romantic plot. A hyperfixation on meeting somebody. And I think that's the most beautiful thing in the world. Do you really feel, and I mean this guys, do you feel that you are connected to the path that you're walking in your life? My creativity was one of the things that frustrated me the most. Because I knew how creative I was, and I did nothing about it. I worked as a personal trainer. I absolutely love what I do now. Because in all the areas I desire to express myself and create, I can. And by the way, that tremendously changed my relationship with my sexuality. Tremendously. Because I actually became a force of creation. One of the things for Instagram was delete it or create with it. Tried deleting it for a month. Fuck, I don't exist. I have no game. I can't go out. I mean, I don't really talk to myself like that anymore, but that's how I felt. Could have gone a long way with a little self-love, guys. I know we see a lot of these things out there that make you feel like you need to twist your wrist. The heart animates the person. And to have your heart in relationship to your actions means that that's what's driving your life. Not some sort of survival response or hypervigilance. Which, look, to be fair, I've had so much hypervigilance in my life. Even now, these days, I find myself experiencing extraordinary states of hypervigilance. When do I feel it? When I'm in the unknown. When I struggle to surrender. When it comes to trusting others. Ooh, motherfucker. I do not like trusting others. What's up, Thomas?
What's hypervigilance?
It's a great question. Hypervigilance is a state of complete and total survival. It's where your survival mechanism is turned up to 100, and you have what you call a performative mask where you feel that you cannot be hurt by anyone. A real state of hypervigilance is actually so compelling that it can confuse you from presence. It's very compelling. But when you start experiencing presence, which maybe you guys had, maybe you start to slow down. You start to feel really sad. A lot of your thoughts start to slow down too. It's like your mind isn't a fucking highway of cars driving 250 miles an hour. Then you start to feel really sad. Maybe there's tears and emotions. And usually when we get to that, there's no resistance between us and the heart. Presence is a lot of mind and heart coherence. Vigilance, to be honest, I've spent majority of my life in vigilance. When I started my business, it was hypervigilance. When I would go up to girls, it was hypervigilance. When I had to make choices to walk out of a relationship, it was hypervigilance. I had to just what you call overdrive. It was a protective wall. To be honest, if it wasn't for my niece, I don't think I would be alive. I don't think so. I'd be dead inside. There's this one kid I met at Temple the other day, and he's a really, really intelligent, capable, sensitive people person. And I was telling him, hey, you know, Purim is coming up. You should dress up as this character. Like, make your inner child happy. And he goes, inner child? He goes, personally, man, do you have a second? He pulled me over. I was talking to him, and he goes, I feel that I'm a very shy person inside. Isn't that interesting? For such a social butterfly, talking to all the girls at the bungalow. And he goes, yeah, and I feel really, really sensitive. I said, hey man, you're talking to the right guy. And I said, do you understand what you are currently in? There's a word for it. And he goes, what is it? I said, that's called a depression. And I like to change the terminology because it's a compound of grief and sorrow and loss. And every time we experience sorrow or loss, I don't know if you guys know this, but it returns you to your essence. It's time with your essence. Less spilling it out there. It's spending time and connecting with it. And you start thinking about how little we do that, guys. How little we do that. Because I could feel it. Sometimes there's this like parasite. You know, the parasite has many different kind of manifestations. It sounds a little like this. Where the bitch is at? Maybe you have that, right? Here's another one. Why am I here right now? I could be somewhere else. Here's another one. Come on, man, you just need to take bigger action. What the fuck are you doing? Do you hear it? It's just different manifestations, but it's still parasitic. And the nature of it is that it makes somebody fake as fuck. And so as we were talking, he was saying, like, how the hell am I supposed to bring that kid out into the world? But I said, who else better than you? You've learned every single mechanism on planet Earth to display kind of social dynamics. Now you're going to take out something real. Have you ever noticed that now we start to look around and negotiate with that essence that we are more than capable of bringing into the world, but we just don't believe in its necessity. We are so disconnected from it, we are left in a perpetual state of analysis, and that analysis is shaped through the negative experiences that made you repress it to begin with. You're more than fucked. You need a way out. You need a heart. I ended up seeing him at the costume party we went to. You know, this was really fun. This was the one time I went out in a long time where I said, I genuinely didn't give a fuck. I was like, another Jewish singles event. I get to dress like Wuthering Heights, Heathcliff. What happens, happens. I walk in there, and it was super funny. I was like, I didn't even feel like I needed to do anything, whatever it was. I just wanted to make my rounds, walk around, talk to people. This was a state of presence, by the way. Earlier that day, hypervigilance. Hypervigilance for me looks a lot like turning into a sanctimonious, ignorant, arrogant, control freak. That's a good word. Why do I need control so much? Well, I don't feel safe without it. And I want to be able to relate this to you guys. There's a reason why I mentioned my friend and I'm talking about this whole story. He's one of the most sensitive people that I know, one of the most creative people that I know, and one of the most sexually repressed people I know. There's an issue here. I don't know if you guys can see it. He's constricting his creative spirit. He's restricting the ability to expand that very thing. And by the way, I think it's like heartbreaking when we see it, because same thing with you, Thomas. It's like, what are you guys doing that allows you, what are you building in your life, if not a space to cultivate that authentic essence in yourself? I hope you guys know that right there is your purpose. What do you think you do with a woman? Why is it such a deep desire for us to be with a woman? Well, she's speaking to, you are creating the space that allows that authentic essence to expand. That's the feminine. The authentic essence itself, the spirit of man, is feminine. That's what Carl Jung called the anima. For women, the animus. I'm not sure which one's feminine or masculine. Don't fucking ask me. But in every woman, there's a masculine essence. In every man, there's a feminine essence. The integration of the masculine essence for a woman creates the necessary security in order for her to display that in the world. The integration of the feminine essence in a man means that he seeks to cultivate the gifts in every individual and take that into the world. Isn't that kind of beautiful? From the outside in, the inside out. I'm really enjoying this today because I could feel you guys are very open and also very sad. And I want you to recognize a little bit about how it's kind of like you're up to your throat with it, right? The sadness is here, it's in the chest, it's in the heart. And there's a panic. There's a panic. Like you guys are freaking the fuck out. After that happened with the girl, what's the first thing you did? You felt shame, you felt fear, you experienced the unknown, you're not sure what this is, you started to feel like there's something wrong with me, or I'm not doing the right thing, or I'm some sort of pervert, right? Panic. What do you think happens when we disassociate, guys? Who the hell wants to be with their emotions, right? Really, truthfully, who does? I know Allo doesn't, because right now he's in the fucking fires. He's like the guy in the World War I trench, and he's just seeing his friend melting from fucking gas fumes. And he's like, I think I'm done now. And he puts down his rifle and just sits down like this. And he hears like, he's just staring at his fucking feet. And it's like, come on, soldier. You're here to fight. And it's interesting because you're made for it. You know, and that's, by the way, very interesting, Allo, right? You talk about, what about all this aggression? Like, use it. And what do you think happens when you express your aggression? Through the emotional conduits, you start associating to everything that allows you to access it. Your dark nature. That's amazing. It's really amazing. You know, like, I mean, we're a better place to find it out than here. You know, same thing for me, Allo. I just had no reason to live. I was a young, tall, and handsome guy with an infinite amount of expectations of how his life needs to go, from himself and from other people. There was rage. That's all I had, fucking pent up rage. The best that I had was a story about meeting my wife. Dude, that was the fucking ultimate blanket and soother to it. But I just realized I'm wasting my life. I'm wasting my potential. You know, that's, by the way, maybe a sign of being raised right. I considered my potential, my evolution, what my loyalty is truly towards. And I think for you, Allo, because you're a person of service, you have to start recognizing who your loyalty is towards. If it's not your evolution, then your children work in opposition of it. If it's not your evolution, then you marry your ball and chain. If it's not your evolution, then you have friends that agree to a silent contract of, I don't talk about your problems, you don't talk about mine. Let's feel sorry for each other, because that's the closest we can get to feeling anything. So Thomas, and this is what I'm trying to say to you guys, you know, like, you start thinking about the kind of excitement in relationship to what you can create. You know, so many people understand sexuality as purely the act of intimacy. No, it is the act of intimacy, excuse me. Do you guys know what that really means? That through the expression of your love, desire, passion, through the expression of your many needs, you get to see into yourself through the other person. How open are you to what you see is the real question. How much truth can you handle? Good parenting, strong foundation, right? They're these mother and father rods, what they call them, mom and dad, when they raise a tree. You have to take them off at a certain point so that you can help the tree get strong, give it a little bit of wind. Well, I mean, sure, there's the possibility a hurricane comes and uproots it. That's the vulnerability of life. We want to learn to connect with that. We want to learn to connect with that so that we can have faith. And so both of you guys, let's just tell me a little bit about the situation. Who's the squirrel, Thomas?
She's, excuse me, she's just a real estate agent that I met, I don't know, a couple months ago, whatever. No, probably a month ago or whatever. And we went out on Thursday, and, you know, we'd hung out a couple times before, just like get coffee or whatever. Knew that there was like kind of a little bit of a spark or a connection there, and then like went out on Thursday, ended up hooking up. And
you didn't do it on the first date? You didn't do it when you first met her?
No.
Okay,
no.
so you want to talk about leagues of pervert? That's where my head goes, dude.
Okay.
Like, if I'm feeling it and the coffee's good, I think we should hook up in the bathroom and come back to the coffee. It'd be a lot better. It would. One second. You're feeling something interesting here. Is she friends with your ex?
She's not friends with her, but they're on the same team and they know each other, and she knew or figured out, I guess, in some way that I'm not over my ex.
I mean, yeah, no shocker. She probably said my ex just gave me 10 grand. Well, I think a lot of your issues, do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, you're kind of, you're going in a direction that's just not helping you.
Yeah.
Like, this is close to home. Can we establish that this is close to home? Think of it this way, right? She's in association to your ex. Now you're having sex with her. You are recognizing a lot of your emotions in relationship to your past partner with this girl consciously. Because how could you not?
Yeah.
It might go back to her tomorrow. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's something about the space that you're in that is hyper vigilant. You don't feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's the comfort of the not being safe. Like it's kind of like what's known. I don't know. Like I realized in retrospect that like I mean, my parents never talked to me about sex. It was never anything that
Can we,
like there
one
was
second.
no openness around sex.
I think that the sexual conversation is not the issue of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
There wasn't just an openness, there was no openness around sex, there was no openness around emotions. You're
Sure.
having a
Well, yeah, that too, for
contortion.
sure.
You're having a contortion. Like there's like the say the thing is growing. There's one thing for it to
Yeah.
grow at an angle. It's another thing to do this. Like twist it and bend it that way. All right?
Yeah.
Which means that that's actually your relationship with it. There's something very interesting about what we experience as children. Let's just say, you had a very chaotic household, overbearing parents. You leave the house, you do girls, cocaine, party, some Jordan Belfort lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a certain point where you start to become not a victim to those experiences, you become self-destructive. There's a certain point where that begins to happen, where there is an understandable level of these are the things that happen to that person, right? And that's a lot of ways why they are developing these behaviors. There's a certain point where they are just seeking to destroy themselves. That is the manifestation of the faulted or wounded foundation. That they want to destroy themselves. They don't have a finger to point at anymore. It's like, here's how it works, right? Take me, for example. Serious foundational issues, meaning maternal issues, relationships with trust, right? If I have a foundational wound and a serious trust issue that's generational, and I've experienced malevolence from my own caretaker, you think I'm gonna fucking find people that know how to do anything else other than treat me malevolently? Here's acts of malevolence. Consciously doing something that you know would hurt somebody and then turning away from that and then convincing yourself and the other person that those aren't things that are happening. So for example, lying to them every day and kissing them with a smile saying, I love you. All right, that sounds like a person who's cheating on you, right? But that also sounds like a mother who had an inability to internalize any of her inadequacies, and once she was able to address them, further said, no, I will break them to my worldview. Ooh, that's dark, isn't it? That's really dark. That's really dark. Now, that's a foundational wound, can we agree? You can't undo it. You guys cannot get rid of your trauma. Get rid of this idea. Get rid of that idea for the rest of your life. You can heal your trauma. You're like, what does that mean? If trauma is a black dot on a board, you don't just remove the black dot. No, it stays there. You expand yourself relative to it. And any person who is traumatized in the classified sense has a limited expression. They have lost their ability to express themselves. Do you guys think that I lost my ability to express myself? No, because my trauma is relative to my authentic essence. Where there's a trauma is an opportunity to double that connection with what's true in me. What do you think happens when I'm challenged to show that to the world? Do you think that I don't have resistance in relationship to it? No, the resistance is there, but I often notice that what makes a traumatized person is that they're not aware of the trauma. It controls their life. It reduces their expression. They have an inability to be flexible, because that's exactly what it does. It hardens. Try hardening your heart, by the way. Try living your life with a hardened heart. And by the way, I've noticed that the nature of what heals people is flexibility. They need flexibility. They're like Frankenstein with the screws too tight, trying to turn their neck, saying they got 360. They got nothing. They could hardly move it. They're locked in. They're railroaded into one framework. And you start thinking about the kind of expression we have. Have you ever noticed that somebody that could only express a certain tone? Go watch my old videos. It was like this. I loved it. I fucking loved it. It was consistent. Who the hell wants to open up to what's not consistent? I wake up in the morning one day and I'm like, hey, I feel really good. Next moment, why am I grieving the death of my family? And am I that they're still alive? Right? Man, what do we bring out into the world that is us? And we start to define us based off the emotions that we experience. Like, guys, your identity is quite compelling, and it has one job: to remove you from what is authentic and what is you, because that's absolutely terrifying. You can get that in little bits and pieces, but at the end of the day, the thing that is authentic wasn't just damaged by the people that raised you. You don't understand the absolute insanity you need to be willing to open yourself up to in order to become in touch with something that is the unique image. God himself through you. When you guys start realizing, you commit your loyalty, you betroth yourself to truth, your life changes. And here's the thing that I'm finding to be interesting is that even taking your situation, a lot of it has to do with sex, a lot of it has to do with connection, a lot of it has to do with intimacy, but I don't think you've ever thought for a moment that you are looking to heal a heartbreak by changing one avenue of your life in relationship to your heart. No. So much of our issues are created because of a foundational issue, and then we start to seek relationships that are in alignment of that foundational wound. That's the last thing you want. And so the kid that experienced malevolence when he was younger is going to seek a relationship that will experience that malevolence on him. Now, there's an additional form of protection. Are you guys aware of it? Where you remove yourself from your innocence and you become the person that acts the malevolence out on others. Just don't let it happen again. And this time I'm convicted. And then actually there's a certain point where, because that foundational wound is as deep as it is, and it sends you a message that you inherently are nothing. You are not enough. And it runs deeper than you could possibly imagine. And it's terrifying if you guys want to if you really want to hear it, that it becomes the manifestation of self-hatred because you don't believe anything better for yourself or that there's anything good in you. So Thomas, when I hear the story between you and this girl, I go, cool. I'm happy you had a good time. Because that's the extent of it, that. But what I am finding very interesting is that you like to avoid these conversations. They come up in relationship to sex because there you get to see how you don't negotiate with your authentic essence. What do you think happens after you have sex? You're you for the first time. What happens when you return back to mortgage broker, swindler, con artist, liar, asshole, right? Well, you start to panic because what was the difference between this and this? Have you ever thought maybe to consider there are more levels of separation in your life in your day-to-day than there is in your bedroom, and you're making the bedroom the issue? No, your relationship with your authentic self is pervert. Just to give you an idea. So there's only one place you could experience that, with other perverts. And of course that gives you even more shame because you're like, oh, the only place I could experience myself are with the same degenerates that I am. And then you want to get married. And it's like, well, let's be honest, 2 + 2 = 4. And the last thing you want to do is marry a degenerate. Yet you are one. At least that's the story you have. Now, what I think you find to be interesting is that the more that you improve your relationship with this part of you, it's somebody who can play with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it because I know that there was a point in the night where before she brought anything up about my ex,
I'm glad she brought it up.
What do you mean?
I'm really glad she brought it up.
No, me too, because before that I was kind of in this flipping the boats of mask on, mask off,
Yeah.
cool James Bond.
Snaky.
Not so cool. Yeah.
And I love that part of you. Just pay attention to it.
Yeah.
You're a snake.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful creature. Are you aware of that? You're reducing yourself to your relationship with that part of you. And you are you are reducing yourself to it. Now, I think you're a beautiful creature of capacity. You are aware of what a snake is, right? Like what makes a snake? Well, they're smooth-tongued, right? There's charming to it. Something kind of like rhythmic, hypnotic, seductive. What's wrong with that? They're also the symbol of ancient wisdom. They're also a symbol of healing, despite them being the source of poison. Yeah, and so what do you think the copper staff with the snake? It's the thing that poisoned you aimed upwards is exactly what the cure is. So don't reduce yourself to your relationship with it, because if you think I'm anything less than a snake, I'm a fire-breathing one. You don't want to live in a world without that. This girl the other day, we were really hitting it off. I walk right in. She comes to me smiling ear to ear. I'm like, what? Do we know each other? And my friend was super bummed out because she was the only girl there that had presence, which was awesome because I got to spend time talking with somebody. Great connection. Really good connection. She goes, you scare me. I'm like, why do I scare you? She's like, are you a truthful person? And I said, no. I'm not a truthful person. I'm a lying sack of shit. And she smiled. She goes, wow, you are very honest. And I said, you think? You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing that we often look to do. We're like, wait, I have to defend my... Is this the place where I defend myself? Do you guys ever notice that you almost never need to defend yourself for what's you? Ever. She goes, I feel like you just want to hook up with me. I do want to hook up with you. And I'm still waiting for the problem. First off, I feel that you just want to hook up with me and you feel bad for it. Because honestly, I don't know if I'll hear from her again, but well, she met that side of her.
I do say the same type of shit, honestly.
Good.
You've called this out before, but like, dude, I feel like I owe them something.
Good work, motherfucker. Yes. You feel obligated after you have sex with someone. What is this? For me, it's really religious. I hope you know. It's also maternal. My mother would always say, if you sleep with her, you must marry her. Just letting you know, my mother was no fucking Virgin Mary. Okay? Now, that's the worldview she would like to live in, because that's what she would have liked when she was younger. She has a Bambi mindset, there is no such thing as a weak woman. There is no such thing as a weak woman. That does not exist. I cannot find one. Okay. What makes somebody a weak person is their inability to evolve. They instantaneously become weak, envious, poisonous, and destructive. You should see what bitter people are capable of. I love when people talk about, like, okay, you need to be this capable Leviathan. I don't know if you're familiar with the majority of school shooters. They are losers. Bitter losers. You start thinking even about dictators, they're kind of like bitter losers too. Oh, you should see the kind of capacity for destruction that we have first. Yet I think it's also very interesting that growing up, that's what I would hear all the time. You had sex with her? Then you must be with her. And I'm like, okay, Mom, I'll work towards it. Okay, so there's this thing in psychology, they call it contracts. False contracts, false images. I talk about it here too. If you guys do not evaluate what your loyalty is towards, then it comes at the cost of your evolution and the path towards true love. Both of them, cut. Do you know why? Do you know when I bought my first pair of Christian Louboutin shoes? $1,200. They're actually right here. I'll show you them. They're beautiful. I still have them to this day, 4 years later. Do you know why I bought them? I bought them because one of my clients was suicidal, and I was obsessed with the show Lucifer, and he had these shoes. How sexy. Fucking perfect. Absolutely amazing. I still have them to this day. Now, these things represent a whole lot more than just a pair of shoes. Now, if you ask me, do I want to spend another $1,200 on another pair of these shoes? No. This was part of a story. It had meaning then. Oh, there's plenty of things I want to spend money on now, but not those. You understand that my mother rejected all things material. All things material. My father was a phantom about it, so silent enabler. How about that? And there was this contract. Why was it so scary for me to spend that much money on myself, which I never did, by the way? The last time I shopped was 3 years ago before I bought these shoes, and I spent $200. That's the clothes I had ever since. I was just a save your money machine. And in that, waste your potential. The fuck was I doing with it? So Thomas, I'm bringing this up for a reason, because there's something really fascinating. When I bought these shoes, it was the most shameful experience of my life. I felt two things, shame and guilt, very similar to the emotions that you're talking about here. I felt that I did something wrong. I come home, she goes, beautiful shoes. How much were they? And I said, don't worry. She was thinking maybe $400, $500. She wasn't thinking $1,400. Of course, the way the universe works, the receipt was still left in the box. I hear a screech, like as if she heard that her mother died. Maybe her father died. She wouldn't react that way to her mother, unfortunately. And I go, what? What's going on? You will return them right now. That is so terrible, the way that you're spending that money. You don't understand that there are people that need help. And I go, help? You want me to throw money at them so that they can burn it? The thing that I do is help people realize that that's exactly what their money is for, to get real help. What I did for this person was save his life. You think $1,400 could supplicate human connection? You dumb bitch. Because that was the rest of what I thought in my head. And by the way, these shoes were a break of a contract. And in that came a lot of wealth. Isn't that interesting? Don't spend your money like that. I changed my behaviors. Well, there was something so interesting. I was so restrictive with my money my whole life, and it was like, where did that come from? I'll tell you what it is. False alignment. Misaimed loyalty. Where do you guys think you ever face that? Do you think you face it in the comfortable conversations, the pillow talk, or it's there? A year later, get yourself a nice car. I bought a DB11. What do you think happened? Broke the contract. Don't spend too much money in Europe. Went broke 4 times. Broke the contract. Why did I do that? If I spent $1 less, I wouldn't be the same man that I am now. What comes first, guys? Your evolution. Your evolution always comes first. You have what you call misplaced loyalty. And by the way, Thomas, even for me, it was like every time I'd hook up with somebody, and I mean it, I would genuinely like to see if there was something there. See, even that's bullshit. I'll have to tell myself that I'm genuinely looking for something. What's wrong with wanting to get laid? I'm sorry, arrest me. What's wrong? You don't know her or anything. You want to sleep with her and not talk to her again? Don't. I want to see what comes up when I say that.
Ego for sure.
Great, great. Because it's going to absolutely scare you. But I have a very similar thing that you do. I feel obligated. I'm like, yeah, let's talk soon. I actually don't want to talk soon. I just wanted to experience the extent of that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the other part that came up was like I want to hit up a different girl that's on that team now.
Okay, well, you probably just want to get back at your ex, you vengeful cunt.
Maybe, but now it's like kind of kind of a game of like, how many agents can I knock off? Which is, and even that, as I say that, I'm like judging myself of like, that's kind of
Well,
fucking
let's get
diabolical.
real. Let's get real then. Let's get real because I want you to get real so that you can get to what's true. You're not going to get to what's true without getting to what's real here. So, look, let's get to the fact that like, did you delete those photos?
Hmm? Yeah, photos are deleted.
What's the other thing that's still in the like books? What, you still have her number?
I still have her number. Um, like my I guess I just don't delete. So like realistically, if I wanted to go back in, I could go under her contact and like find
Fine.
all the fucking pictures and shit.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and delete the number and delete the text? Because I know you got hella nudes in the fucking info category about the
I
contact.
deleted all of them out of my photos in my hidden
But
folder,
you
but
still got
I
a
could go
text
into it.
strand. That's what I'm trying to say. You still have a text strand. You got to clear the text strand out. You understand that you're a son of a bitch, dude. You're a son of a bitch. I'm not going to act like you're not the snakiest snake. You're hard to catch.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, but I like, you get what I'm saying? Look, this is where your shame is. Just want to let you know that. Like, you're also like, you're trying to, again, I want you to fall apart. Do you understand that? You need to fall apart. Like, you are begging for this image to fall apart. Begging.
Yeah.
You know that there's true Thomas in you. We'll call him that. True Thomas. Truthful Thomas. And he is like, fuck, man, hear me out. I know you're scared. I know you don't feel safe. The idea of letting this go completely feels like suicide. Do not listen to this fucking cunt. He is taking away the last shot of love that you have. And he's going, you should fuck the whole realtor team so that we could still stay in touch with her. Do you understand how inauthentic that is? If you told me that every girl in the realtor office was drop dead gorgeous and that you were genuinely attracted to them, I would say do it. But this is not an act of something that's authentic. This might be authentically spiteful, sure. But if you want to go ahead and reduce yourself to the spite in relationship to sexual expression, brother, you will feel a whole lot more in relationship to sex you will not like when you're older. You will have a very poor relationship with sex. You will see it as a weapon, not as an act of intimacy. And that's really what's happening here. Did you
Yeah.
get your friend to make sure that he's taking care of the assets? And did you send her you don't even need to send her a final message. You can have Trevor reach out. She doesn't need to talk to you ever again. You're afraid of that.
I am less afraid after this past weekend. But also at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's even true, actually.
I don't know if that is even true. I don't know
Yeah.
if that is even true. Like, look, you might even start really reconsidering, like, was this thing that you did with this girl, were you actually genuinely into her, or were you trying to just communicate with your ex through having sex with her?
The latter.
Well, it's good to say it out loud. I think you're still negotiating, man. And I want you to know that, remember, like, getting to pain, that's not the survival mechanism's goal. The survival mechanism's goal is to avoid it. But I want you to remember this. Pay attention here. Thomas, pay attention here. Where you protect yourself, there's the next thing. How you protect yourself and with what capacity. You, my friend, are a dragon. And you don't like that. There's a reason why I put myself in this position. Because it says dragons can fly here. You're putting yourself in the den, underground. Pent up. And you might even notice something here, because I really don't like it, and I don't think you should like it either. There is nothing attractive about using sex as a way to get to somebody. That's not just a betrayal of the other person. It's a huge betrayal of yourself. Now, like, I'll say what I like to say here, because I'll pull my sanctimony card for a second. I have never used sex that way. I've done other things, but I've never used sex that way. I value it too much. I'm beginning to feel that you do not have a good relationship with it and do not value sex. And I want you to feel a sense of shame here, because I want you to recognize, I wouldn't be pissed if I didn't care. And I'm noticing that, you know, you start thinking about, like, hey, that there is something fundamentally shameful about that. You're trying to make it about the sex, man. The sex got nothing to do with it. You see how slick you are? You know, well, my parents said they never really talked about it growing up. Your parents got nothing to fucking do with this. There's a certain point where somebody wants to prove himself right, and they want to manifest their self-hatred. And they want to take everything that they are to prove a point to someone. And it's just a point to themselves, which is, I don't fucking know how I can get over this, and I don't believe anything better for myself. You become a Cain. Very simple. You know, you start thinking about, maybe you don't believe that for yourself, and you're really deeply challenged by it. And I remember I said, all who walk through the door of insecurities and inadequacies become the man they were born to be. All who walk through it. It says it in small little braille right under the handle. Man, you were walking. You were walking. You turned around, you walked back, you closed the door, and you said, fuck this. You guys want to know something very interesting? You want to ask me a question, Naftali. You're like, Naftali, hey, will I meet a good girl? Is that possible for me? Or, the best I ever had was that one girl, and that's the best I'm ever going to get, and to let it go would mean that I'd be letting go of love. That I cannot do. And I'll go, hey man, you know, you want to go ahead and do that, no one's going to stop you. But I want you to realize something here, that if you think it's me going to tell you something in order for you to make your life better, you couldn't be more wrong. I would have failed as a coach. I'm here to speak to that thing in you that is guiding you in your life, the spirit, the innate spirit of you. You will only feel safe when you connect with that. Every little bit of safety you look for is completely illusory. Completely illusory. And it's not just illusory. What you call the feelings of not being safe are really the places where you are, and the places where you believe that you are not safe in, or the places where you believe you are safe in, you are sleeping with wolves. You could talk to a kid in Compton. What's it like? Do you feel safe being raised in Compton? They'll tell you, yeah. It's home. Do you feel safe when your parents are arguing all the time? Yeah, it's home. Do you want to tell that to a kid? Tell it to a kid where the parents are arguing all the time and they stop. When do you think he's not going to feel safe? When there's silence. So you have your nervous system, a foundational wound, man. You know, like, you need to heal that, because what you feel safe with is what you're afraid of. It's what can hurt you, and that's the thing that you're afraid of, being hurt again. But you're also afraid of not being loved again. And I hope you know this, that every point that you took throughout that process challenges, will I find love again? But the thing is, you're looking for it everywhere else other than inside of you. That's so self-destructive, because you don't believe that it exists inside of you. You understand the dangers of that. You have to keep walking down that uncomfortable road. You have to. You must. And I think that's really interesting to see, hey, look at how much you protect yourself. Look at to what capacity that you're willing to go to in order to protect yourself. You're willing to inflict malevolence on other people. You know, and look, I don't want you to turn away from this. See it. Remember, whatever you do to them, there's a cycle of malevolence in that. They're going to have to make do, all right? They're going to have to figure that one out. But there's what you continue to do to yourself through it. You don't understand. It's an act of evil towards yourself. This isn't a question of going to goth clubs and hooking up with girls. You think I give a fuck? Go to underground sex parties for all I care. You might learn something about yourself if you're conscious. This has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the way that you're using it. and you are negotiating with this idea, and you are resisting everything that allows you to come to an innate belief that you are enough, and you are fighting the fuck out of that. You do not believe that you can be loved outside of this. I want you to experience love outside of me, outside of everyone else, and I want you to find it in yourself, because only then we can start really building what's authentic about you. Thomas, you don't need to tell the girl anything right now. You don't need to. You don't. But you do need to be honest with yourself in the areas where it's most difficult. And you got to realize that you are fucking fighting this. You are fighting the fuck out of this, dude. You are frustrated. You are angry. You are vengeful. You are hurting. You better start recognizing that. And the last thing that you want is to let that go. Could I get a little more real? Because now we're on track. How does that feel?
Not great.
Well, does that feel like that's where you're at?
Yeah. No, it definitely does. Yeah, I mean, it's shameful in that like everything has been like under, and I guess I'm even kind of realizing it in this moment, but like it's all been like I'm like externalizing it.
What are you
And
externalizing?
like you talked about, like the I can't even fucking say the word, but like love, to try and get it somewhere else, and I'm trying to like almost overcomplicate it by like instead of looking inward, and I feel it's frustrating because I don't I don't know how to look inward and find that.
You do. But I guarantee you, you will not find anything about you unless you're willing to accept that you are experiencing a state of hypervigilance. There are two things you are feeling: viscerally terrified. The next one, deeply ashamed. Deeply inadequate. You hate that feeling. You know when people say, I don't know how to internalize? They can't feel inadequate or shame. They have too many opinions about those two emotions, including fear, that they would rather disassociate and manifest the beliefs of their shame.
Yeah.
Okay, do you see that? Because what I feel in you is tension. I feel tension. I feel a lot of tension. I feel a lot of tension. Now, do you realize how terrified you are? You want to know what happens to people when they're deeply triggered? Do you think that they could consider other people? Do you think they even see other people in the room?
Yeah.
They just see themselves. They become self-obsessed. So that's part of having what you call a very capable survival mechanism, which is you're the only thing that matters. What do you think narcissism is? You're the only thing that matters, right? Imagine that.
Yeah.
You're a girl that wants to orgasm, and you're with a guy, you like him, things are going great, but you get triggered, and then you don't feel safe. Now he's naked, and you start saying things like, I don't feel safe. He's like, okay, tell me, what do you need? We don't have to do this. But again, that's not going to be enough because she needs what allows her to feel safe. And what's that? Control. But I don't know about you guys. Try control and an orgasm in the same sentence. They don't exist. You say that, try the same thing with a boner. It's about the relaxation of muscles, not the tension of muscles. Right? Then you're like, okay, this could get a little bit more interesting here. Okay. What exactly is surrender if not a voluntary choice? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because let's say she's in a triggered state. Do you think she's going to recognize the fact that you have your own needs in relationship to sex, or she's going to see herself alone and you as a threat? And by the way, what's going to happen? They're going to protect themselves. You're going to be naked. You can be deeply hurt. It was one of the things I was talking about the girl yesterday, which she's like, it's just so vulnerable for me. And I was like, great, I'm glad you said that. It's vulnerable for me too. well, how can you be hurt? And I said, wow, you are really up your ass. How could I be hurt? Do you want me to list every damn possible way where you could completely reject somebody in the bedroom? And she laughed and she was like, oh, I see what you're saying. I'm noticing I'm really protective. I'm really protective. Same thing here, Thomas. Do you notice that there's anything else outside of you at the moment?
No.
Well done. Congratulations. This is what integration looks like. I know you're like, but give me a fucking solution. Fuck this part of me. No, not fuck this part of you. Get to know this part of you. Because this will happen again. You start really recognizing what the foundation of an intimate relationship looks like. We're having one right now.
Yeah, it's like the imagery of it, like this fucking picture perfect life, and just being empty as fuck.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about. There is a state of terror. You feel that you are going to be misguided. You are having a hard time trusting. You are having a hard time taking guidance. You are having a hard time being independent. You are having a hard time feeling fear. You're having a hard time feeling shame. You don't like the fact that you can't figure this out on your own. You don't like the fact that you're 35 years old and still don't have an answer to all of these questions. Oh my God. You better start learning what exactly is going on so that you can get your head out of your ass. This is way up. And you have no ability, or honestly, what I'm recognizing now is that, could you be with that? Just be with it. I know you're trying to think about like, what do I need to do? It's like, be with the feelings that you don't feel like you want to let go of this. Like, I need something back. I'll tell you what it sounded like for me the other day with my coach. It sounded just like this. Surrender? What do you mean fucking surrender? Fuck the universe. The universe can kick my ass, kiss my ass. There isn't a thing that I've done that involved another person that didn't require me to be a son of a bitch in order to get the things that I wanted. People don't know how to take care of shit. Trust people? There isn't a moment in my life where I didn't have to look the person in the eye and learn a little bit of what they had to teach to show them they're not that great at it. I sound arrogant, don't I? Arrogant, ignorant, presumptive, sanctimonious. And I start character assassinating. That's what I start doing. But what's really happening? Was that actually true? Oh, look, might be half true. Because there isn't a decision in your life that doesn't require you. I just needed to accept how damn terrified I was. That really helped. That really helped. And I said, wait, is this my response to feeling terrified? And it goes, yep. Because what? Gives me a feeling of control. And that's what makes me feel safe. So what I pretty much just saw before my very eyes, the thing that I feared most, inviting a woman that wants to destroy my life into my house and I didn't see it coming. I already do it thinking that I'm safe with those people. When I got to see myself clearly, guys, I got to see that, man, was I terrified. And this is how I respond when I don't feel safe. I go for control, which means that I am safe under the delusional pretenses I agree to. As long as I have control, I'm safe. Oh, are you sure that's not a foundational wound, buddy? Because you better start working at feeling safe around truth, and only that. That's the rewiring of the nervous system in a lot of ways. That's the incorporation of love. The kind of trust it takes. And I think for you, I need to hear a little bit more about what you resist about letting her go. And you're not being honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself.
I mean, very much like that's the best that I'm capable of. And I see that in other...
No, I want you to get to, I don't believe I'll meet somebody. I have to force it into existence. The universe is cruel, life is cruel, people fucking suck. Give me more of that. Give me more of that.
People do suck, and there's not that many attractive people out there.
Yeah, Okay, keep
And then
going.
there's even less people that are attractive and no, like, are not retarded.
Yeah, but I still need to hear a little bit of that anger. I'm not quite getting it because I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think you're aware of how scared you are. Are you drinking a fucking Red Bull? What is that?
No, this is sparkling water.
I was like, Jesus Christ, you're doing espresso and Red Bull, brother? I was like, you're
No,
not
no,
even in the
sparkling
room.
water,
You're just
sparkling
like,
water.
also, that's another thing, right? When do we feel most safe? When we're out of our body.
Yeah,
Are you
for sure.
kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, when do I feel most safe? When she lies to me about who she is. That's what you're really saying. I hope you know that. I feel most safe when I'm with a siren that's bent on destruction. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What about?
around degenerates, definitely feel the most safe around degenerate people.
Well, you could be most disassociative because you don't need to think about it. You don't feel relatively judged. You want to know when my real relationship with my sexuality came out? When I hang out with my nephew. Oh, yeah. Big time. Most of my friends are degenerates like me, so what's the difference? But when I see my nephew, I'm like, that's an innocent boy. I'm a fucking pervert. Gotcha. Right? But we're not even going there. See, the conversation of sex is not your conversation, man. This is a conversation about love. Let's get that straight. You have a loyalty issue. You are loyal to something that is not true love. You are loyal to something that keeps you away from it. What is that? You have a false contract. Let's void it. Right now, you're putting something above your evolution. And in that, you're putting something above love. There's nothing above love.
Image.
Image? What's the image?
Cool, never a fool, can get laid,
Yeah, unbothered. Can never be
unbothered,
hurt. Can never be hurt.
like steady.
Yeah, steady. Yeah, well, I mean, you're describing a gay man at this point, but
Oh man, that's
it is funny, by the way. Most people's identities, like for me, it's like I was talking with that guy at Temple. He was telling me, he's like, dude, people have been saying, like, are you gay? And it's been like really fucking me up. I was like, are you gay? And it was just really funny because his father always saw how sensitive he was and affectionate he was. And that was the first thing that he felt, was like, is my son gay, right? You could feel that, by the way. You could feel that from somebody. And there's something interesting about it. It's like and then they tell you their identity, and their identity is gay. You're like, what? That's the gayest shit I ever heard. You're like a guy away from being a homosexual. Do you know what I'm saying?
dude. Yeah. Oh fuck.
But their identity to themselves, what does it feel like, Thomas? I'm just such a fucking man. Yeah, and it's like, where's the person? You know, it's, by the way, it's understandable. That's why you're really afraid of letting this go. Just breaking the identity. There's a grieving process in that. There's grief, there's loss. There's freedom. There's freedom. Freedom comes first, guys. So like, yeah, you might be seeming like the overly emotional, because we're going to write that down. This is how you don't want to be seen. Overly emotional, inconsistent, gay, overly sensitive, petty, aggressive, hurt, victim.
Being victim.
But you want to know, that's why you're really preserving this, but you don't understand the measures that you're going to preserve this identity is bordering malevolence.
Yeah, I can tell that. I can tell that for sure.
Right? But you
yeah.
can't do this alone, man. You like to do this alone. It's difficult. Like, we have another fucking session we have to do this week. I want to be able to use the times, the one-on-one calls that we have to really get through these things, okay? Because
Yeah.
we did a lot on the other call together. But man, why are you? Look. I think it's good to pay attention to yourself in these environments. One last thing I want to leave you with. I watched this movie called Nymphomania. That movie is a hard movie to watch because it doesn't feel like watching a movie. One of the key components of this movie is that it's a woman that hates herself and she's a nympho. That's the kind of the product of it. So she takes the part of herself that's most feminine, seeks to confirm her own feelings about herself, and ultimately is completely disassociative from all feelings of hatred of herself.
Nymphomaniac, you mean?
Yeah, Nymphomaniac.
Okay.
It's with Shia LaBeouf.
Nice.
It's a porn film almost, but it's not a porn film because like in movies you don't see penises, right? But in real life, penises exist. Like it hits that thing where you're like, what am I watching right now? What am I watching? And I want to get to the certain part of the film where eventually she realizes that through doing this disassociative act, a man left his wife and 3 kids for a woman that doesn't even exist. He's under the impression that she only wants him. She has 10 guys on her roster every day. Finally, that dyke, whatever, that dumbass comes home with his suit and his suitcase, and he's like, baby, I made the choice. I chose you. And of course, who's behind him? The wife and the 3 kids. 3 sons, by the way. And the wife just is like, hey, in a super passive, aggressive, heartbroken way. Just wanted to see, the woman that was worth leaving this family for. And she's so hurt. And then it cuts back to present time, and Alex Skarsgård's character is talking to her, and he goes, yeah, and that's when you realized what you were doing was wrong, and you changed, right? And she goes, nope. There's malevolence. Why don't you look at this? Why don't you associate to this? Why don't you look at it and just realize that it's not you? That your weakness is in your inability to be flexible with what's most true about you, that you're truly too much of a coward to do. That's a hard thing to hear as a man. This is cowardice. You're not a coward. You're being one right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I want to get angry, but I can't even.
No, I saw that helped. Calling you a coward worked.
It's like the shame almost protects it from getting to that.
You are being a coward. I hope
Yeah.
you're not under any false impressions.
Yeah, no, and the shame of it is like, maybe I am being a coward.
Cowards don't do that. They don't admit they're being a coward. Cowards have advanced forms of slithering away, which I want you to know that's like the best part of you. And you start thinking about like, yeah, man, of course you're being a coward. Like, this is not at all who you are. Like, this is a betrayal. I don't like seeing it. I don't like seeing it. And I'm looking at just what happens when you're terrified. And I want you to do something. Don't turn away from that. I don't want you to think this won't happen again. I want you to pay attention to this. Please. Look at how you protected yourself. Look at how you disassociated. Look at how you spun the conversation to make it about sex. Look at how all of these things were to avoid choices that allow you to progress your life, because there's a fundamental belief that you will never be loved. You have a misplaced loyalty. Your loyalty is in service of an image. That image is not you, and so that's contrary to your evolution, which means that your love will also manifest itself accordingly. And then you're here and you're realizing I still have the text messages and the strands and I haven't really went through with this and I'm still subconsciously competing in order to go ahead and, communicate with her through my sexual behaviors, right? I'd rather do anything than let her go because I'm so afraid and I don't want to be afraid. That's what makes a coward. I don't want to be afraid. Be scared, for fuck's sake. Feel ashamed. If you understood that the alternative was being a coward, you wouldn't do it. There's plenty ways of being a coward. Dude, you think I wasn't told that by my coach? It was the hardest thing for me to hear. But he said, this is cowardice. This is not courage. And I was like, I'm so fucking scared. People have very advanced forms of cowardice, you know it? Disassociation, aggressional behavior, I have that. I can't feel, I can't express, I can't show up, I'm so terrified, I turn away. I don't want you to do anything today, more than I want you to see what you are compelled to do, knowing what you are doing to yourself at the moment. I want to give you as much choice and freedom for that choice as possible.
The immediate thing to do is call a girl.
Well, look, you have plenty of ways to go ahead and abandon yourself.
Exactly.
But let's just say, what's really running that? What's this thing that's coming up that makes you want to do that? What's this fear? Spend time with the fear.
Fear of being alone.
That's one of them. There's more.
There's fear of being seen but but that's so fucking diabolical because I know at the same time how bad I want to be seen.
Yes, I understand better than anybody else, man. I don't know if you were listening Thursday last week. I was talking about exactly this. We're on the same page. I just don't think that you need to continue betraying yourself. And I would say that the difference between me and you in this regard, just one thing. I'm not afraid to ask for help. I could see myself when I go in that direction because I could feel it in my body. I have immediate indicators of fuckery.
Yeah, it does feel it does really feel like a betrayal.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this in the sense where you're like, oh, I betrayed myself. What the fuck have I done? I'm going to stay here for an eternity mourning. You know what it really feels like? It feels like a really great disappointment. Extraordinary disappointment. And there's pain in it too. Because there's hurt. Hurt that was done and hurt now that you're doing to yourself. Self-destructivity, man. Where there's that, there's a person with extraordinary capacity. I've noticed that one goes with the other. All right, guys. Olo, I think you're kind of recognizing the nature of what happens when you turn away from a path that you chose to walk. These are the moments, guys, and I'll leave you with this, where your heart can be what makes you take the next step forward in your life. Pay attention to how you protect yourself. Recognize what comes first, what you're truly in alignment of. Anytime where there's a trigger, see how unintegrated you are with those parts of yourself that came up. That's number one. Number two, I want you to really see what's making you make the choices in your life. Connect with your heart. When you walk your path, it's not hypervigilance. It's a choice that you choose to surrender to. God bless you guys.